Good day, everybody. Here we are at the Bible in a Year 2021. We're on day 114, and we are doing Psalms 43, 44, 45, 49, 84, 85, and 87 today. And obviously, we're only going to touch on these like we have in the past, just touch on each one because each one has a treasure trove of information in it and reveals so much about Yahweh. And each one is probably personal to you. So we're just going to highlight one thing from each one, and I trust the Spirit is speaking to you through these Psalms. So let's start off with Psalm 43. So some of the encouraging things in here is seeing David, who is a man like any man, facing things. Um, it reminds sometimes we see these guys as these superheroes that we're living up to. We're not supposed to live up to any of them whatsoever. None of them are actually our example. Jesus Christ is our example, and we live towards Him, and we live from Him and towards Him. Um, and what this does is it just these are the whole purpose of the stories that are given to us is so that we can see the interaction, what's happening between them and Yahweh and them, and seeing where they mess up and where they succeed and how they do that, and it's the relationship that we're supposed to be looking towards. So these guys aren't superheroes. Um, they're just people, and they have all the same emotions that we have. So thankfully, the Psalms give us an opportunity to see David work through some of his bad days, and he had a lot of bad days. And so we see him here on a low day, and there's this thing about encouraging yourself in the Lord, and we get to see him doing that, where he encourages himself in the Lord. Just picking out verse number 5 from this. Why, I ask myself, are you so depressed? So, looking in the mirror, right? Why are you so depressed? Why are you so upset inside? Hope in God, because I will again give him thanks, my saving presence and my God. Yeah. This is this is what you do. You remind yourself of who he is. You remind yourself of his promises. You remind yourself of your testimony, the things he's done for you in your past, and you encourage yourself in the Lord. In Psalm 44, this is one of those gut wrenching things. Um, the psalmist is asking the hard questions, which tells us we can as well. So here he lifts up the past. He acknowledges that salvation is from the Lord, admits victory is from him. It states um, their faithfulness, and then asks the question why. So by their faithfulness, I mean that their own faithfulness, the faithfulness of the people, as far as they can see, they are being faithful. And so then the question is asked why. And he pleads for the Lord to intercede on their behalf, according to Yahweh's faithfulness, not according to their faithfulness, but according to Yahweh's faithfulness. And it's just a very real psalm. And we see here in verse 23 to 26, wake up. Why are you sleeping, Lord? Get up. Don't reject us forever. Why are you hiding your face, forgetting our suffering and oppression? Look, we're going down to the dust. Our stomachs are flat on the ground. Stand up. Help us. Save us for the sake of your faithful love. And we often feel this way, I think. And it's because we can't see what's going on behind the scenes. We don't see the things, all the connections that are being made, all the contacts, all the rebuilding of stuff that's happening, all the precursors that have to happen before he rushes in. He's already rushed in. He's taking care of things, and it's just building up to that pinnacle of us being saved. At least that's how we see it in our eyes. Our salvation, our rescue in this is only part of the bigger plan where a lot of things are happening for a lot of people. And we need to keep that in mind all the time. And then we have this prophetic psalm, Psalm 45. And this is in reference to the Messiah, who we know to be Jesus. And it's beautiful. and it's it's referencing the marriage of Jesus to his bride, and the bride being the church. So if you didn't get that the first time, go back and read it again. But read it in that way. This is about Jesus and the bride and the marriage. Just picking out a couple of verses, and it really speaking about the eternal here. In verse 6, your divine throne is eternal and everlasting. Your royal scepter is a scepter of justice. And we know that no earthly throne is eternal. It's only the throne of Jesus Christ. In verse 17, I will perpetuate your name from one generation to the next, so the peoples will praise you forever and always. It's a beautiful song. And Psalm 49 really has got that taste of Solomon about it, at least in his later years when he asks a lot of questions. Proverbs was written in his early years, um, but the rest of it came uh, after he'd been through a lot. He had lost his contact with Yahweh. He'd lost his way. Everything became meaningless to him, and so these are some of the questions that he asked, and it's whether he took it from the psalm or the psalm took it from him. They have that same flavor, and the psalmist points out that everyone is heading to the same end, death. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor. It doesn't matter whether you're male or female. It doesn't matter whether you're a Jew or a Moabite. It doesn't matter at all about anything. We all have the same beginning and we all have the same end. Um, and in this, though, we find something that video game players would refer to it an Easter egg, or maybe moviegoers when certain things are hidden in a plot of a movie that's supposed to lead you to something else. And this is what we find here. And it's simply this in Psalm 49:15. But God will save my life from the power of the grave because he will take me. That's a prophetic thing of the coming resurrection. Um, and it smacks of some of the um, New Testament writers that talk about, where are you, death? Like, where's your sting? Where's, like, you've been conquered, you've been destroyed, and that's what this is really referring to. Is the robbing of the grave that Jesus will do in Psalm 84. Um, we're talking about the journey and the destination. In this you can just read over many times. Just read it over many times, because the psalm is describing our life of journey. It's a journey, a pilgrimage, and we're heading to eternity. We're heading to entering into that place where we will get to spend eternity with our Father, with our King. Um, and on our journey where there's a progressing, there's a gaining of maturity, there's an increasing, there's going from strength to strength. And wherever we go in this journey, we bring life. We bring life to the valley. We bring life to these places. We come in and we bring life. Um, that life can be rejected, but we still bring it with us. But our longing, we're here. We've got ministry here. We've got things we're supposed to do here. We're here for a reason. But our longing is always eternity with Christ. Our longing is always to be face to face with Him. Our longing is that destination, that final place that has been prepared for us. So that's our passion, and we don't sink our roots down here. Anything in this place can be taken from us, and it will not disturb us, because nothing here is permanent whatsoever. It's all very temporary, and so we don't sink our hope, we don't sink our roots into those things. We keep our eyes fixed on what on our journey, and that's what we find in the psalm. It's just so wonderful. Psalm 84 verse 10: better is a single day in your courtyards than 1,000 days anywhere else. I would prefer to stand outside the entrance of my God's house than live comfortably in the tents of the wicked. And David isn't talking about the temporary temple or even the tent of meetings. He's referring to um, those things are just poor reflections of what already exists um, in heaven, and this is what David is longing for, and this should be our longing too, to be in the house of our Father. Isn't that just great? Yeah, love it. Um, and then we have the kingdom culture in Psalm 85. Um, this really speaks of that kingdom culture, and it draws the connecting line between culture and blessings. This is we sometimes we forget this. Um, it's when we live in the culture that the blessings are able to flow. It's not living in the culture is not something that we're not earning anything. It's just living in that culture enables us to receive what Father wants us to receive, what He wants us to have. So those blessings are able to flow, and they flow through us and into the atmosphere around us, whatever we're involved in, whatever business we're involved in, whatever church we're involved in, whatever sports team we're involved with, whatever it is that we where we are, those blessings flow through us and into that environment, the atmosphere around us. So as we are blessed, so are those in that sphere of influence. So what does that culture look like? Well, I pulled out just a couple verses here. God's salvation is very close to those who honor Him, so that His glory can live in our land. Faithful love and truth have met. Righteousness and peace have kissed. Truth springs up from the ground. Righteousness gazes down from heaven. This is it's very poetic, but it's describing what we should be living, because this is kingdom culture right here. It's that salvation, um, and through that, because we are saved, His glory is able to enter into the land. It's faithful love, it's truth, it's righteousness, it's peace. These are the things of the kingdom that we should be walking in and living, and it's what we're supposed to be really leaning into and chasing after. Is this is how we live? This is what we receive. This is what we grow in, and from there the blessings can flow. Amazing stuff, isn't it? And then Psalm 87, we have the church. And this whole section of Psalms is just amazing. Um, in this psalm might look really simple, but we know that things were not established in Jerusalem. As you read through it again. Things weren't established in Jerusalem. In fact, Jerusalem didn't become the center until David came along and made it his own city. Before then, um, no, nothing originated there, and all the peoples were not born there. So what is this talking about? It's another prophetic psalm, and it's describing the church, not church small c as we may understand it today, but the church, the universal church, the bride of Christ, that great mystery of Christ. See, it's salvation is from the Lord, but people are born into the church. They're born because that's where we're supposed to work out our faith. That's where it's just this profound mystery. It's just an incredible thing. But this psalm is about that, and how everything um, on this planet, the kingdom is represented by that church. And we're the church, and people are birthed through that. Um, just verses 5 to 6, just some examples. Read back through the whole thing again, and just try to see it through those eyes. the church, the bride of Christ, and of Zion, the church, it is said, each person was born in it, but the one who will establish it is the Most High. The Lord makes a record as he registers the peoples. Each one was born there. Yeah. It's just incredible, the stuff that we find when we look, the stuff that we find, that all point towards Jesus and all that he did. Anyway, sometimes these things just get me tongue-tied because they're just so fantastic. You guys have a blessed day. Thanks for being with me. Consider those Psalms again, read back through them, and just be blessed in all of that. Thank you guys for being on the journey with me. Love you all. God bless.